So definitely, we believe having a good relation with all Middle Eastern countries it's a good thing, and we want to be part of the Ibrahim Accord. But we want also to be sure that we secure a clear path of two-state solution. And today we have a healthy discussion with Mr. President that we're going to work on that to be sure that we can prepare the right situation as soon as possible to have that.
I think we're, I don't want to use the word commitment, but we've had a very good talk on the Abraham Accords. We talked about one state, two state. We talked about a lot of things in a short period of time. We'll be discussing it further too. But I think you have a very good feeling toward the Abraham Accords.
Yes, definitely, Mr. President. We want peace for the Israelis. We want peace for the Palestinians. We want them to coexist peacefully in the region. And we will do our best to reach that day.
For live analysis, we turn now to Faisal Abbas. He is editor-in-chief at Arab News. He was inside the White House today for the briefing and has spoken with the President and the Crown Prince in the last few hours. Faisal, welcome to the program. Help us set the scene here. How historic and significant is this visit? And have we just seen a reset of US-Saudi diplomacy?
Well, you've hit the nail on the head there, Dan. Historic is the word to use. In fact, it is quite remarkable that this meeting comes exactly 80 years after the famous FDR King Abdulaziz meeting, which happened in 1945, which officially established the U.S.-Saudi relationship. 80 years later, there is no doubt that what we've seen at the White House, both this morning and at the gala dinner, are setting the pathway for the next 80 years. We have seen, as you mentioned in the introduction there, Saudi Arabia being designated as a major non-NATO ally, a defense treaty signed by President Trump, $1 trillion of Saudi investments in the U.S. to help the country achieve its Vision 2030 and economy diversification programs with the preferred partner of choice. You have President Trump there ironing out any bureaucracy that could stop American companies from benefiting from the very ambitious reform program that we have in Saudi Arabia. Last point I would like to say is that those investments are coming from both the government and the private sector, as we will see tomorrow at the Saudi-US Investment Forum.
Faisal, you were inside the room during this moment, so I want to go straight to the source on this. As you've been explaining, this is the Crown Prince's first White House visit since the Khashoggi murder. President Trump inside the White House today saying the Crown Prince knew nothing about the killing of Jamal Khashoggi and that we can leave it at that. But what's your take on this and that moment we saw inside the White House? How is the delegation actually reacting to those comments?
Look, undoubtedly, the question was not surprising, but at the same time, it wasn't controversial. Nothing new was actually said. Some people said that President Trump defended the Crown Prince. I didn't see it that way at all. President Trump reiterated his previous position. He even reiterated the Biden position with regards to this issue, which is there is nothing there. The Crown Prince spoke for himself and reiterated his previous position that while the Saudi government, of course, takes responsibility for the safety of all its citizens, it has gone through every step of the process in terms of the judiciary, in terms of reforms to ensure that such a horrendous mistake does not happen again. But it's also true that the Saudi-US relationship is 80 years old, that it is multifaceted, and that it has many pillars, and that it is quite important for regional stability, for the stability of the oil markets, and for both of the countries' own economies.
Indeed, and this is what is obviously a deep and historic relationship. On this issue, you do get the sense that the political and business community have firmly moved on. In fact, inside the room, President Trump and the Crown Prince joked about investing $1 trillion into the United States from Saudi Arabia. What's your take on that number, Faisal? Was that political, or is the scale of Saudi investment genuinely expanding now?
Look, the issue was never Saudi Arabia. The issue was the bureaucracy in the United States. Whether it's 600 billion or $1 trillion, these amounts are not a gift to the United States. These are assigned projects, assigned initiatives, part of establishing Vision 2030's ambition of diversifying the economy. That is, space goes all the way from space exploration to mining. And, Vision 2030 by default is an outwards facing program, because you need the people with the best knowledge, you need the people with the experience, and those people or those companies or those countries by default are outside of Saudi Arabia. So you need to establish partnerships. And whether, that money is going to be spent on these projects by the government or the private sector, whether it's with the US or whether it is with another country that might be a US competitor. Now, President Trump acknowledges that, President Trump understands that, and credit to him, he has removed the previous bureaucracy and allowed things such as the F-35 jets deal to go through.
Indeed, and beyond business, of course, defence and security have also played a really critical, indeed central role in these conversations. Trump, as you mentioned earlier, also now designating Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally as well. Quite a significant breakthrough on the security front here, Faisal. How consequential is this symbolically, and does it materially upgrade defence cooperation, particularly as we see the potential for F-35 sales also taking place now?
Absolutely. And may I add to that Trump did it in a true Trump style. He announced it as a surprise during the gala. He did not announce it during the day. He made it a headline during the gala dinner, which ended just a few hours ago. And the Crown Prince received a rock star reception during that dinner. To your point or to your question, it all fits in together. So the defense treaty, when you are a major non-NATO ally by default, that makes you eligible to buy the latest technology or the latest equipment from the United States. President Trump, keeps on praising rightly so, the U.S. Technology or effectiveness of their military equipment and fighter jets, etc. And also it has done a remarkable job in removing the previous bureaucracy, which would have prevented such deals from taking place. And at the end of the day, this all also fits into Saudi Arabia's role as a major power in the region. An understanding from the United States that Saudi security falls directly into U.S. security. Saudi stability falls directly not just into U.S. stability, but for the whole region and indeed the whole world, given that Saudi Arabia are the custodians of the two holy mosques of Islam from a religious point of view, the major oil producer or the major country that in terms of OPEC plus, in terms of energy supplies for the world, and of course its political weight within the region.
Faisal, the big question now is the timeline of those F-35 sales and whether or not the UAE experience is going to be a cautionary tale there. Of course, a big question mark over how soon and if Saudi Arabia is actually going to see those jets. So watch that space. Faisal, just before I let you go here, on another issue, Trump said inside the White House today that normalization is a part of these discussions. Of course, Saudi-Israeli normalization is something that the Trump administration would indeed like to see. But as you know, sources have been saying in the last few weeks that that is unlikely to happen in the near term. What's your read on the Israel relationship right now? And is there any realistic pathway for Saudi-Israeli normalization in the near term?
Dan, thank you for that question. But first of all, allow me to say, as somebody who was in the room, I have to say, President Trump, unlike President Trump usually is, was very courteous. He did not actually say that. He said he will leave it to Saudi Arabia to decide whether they're going to increase their investments from 600 billion to 1 trillion. And the Crown Prince responded positively, saying, yes, we will. And he did not say that Saudi Arabia will be joining the Abraham Accords. He left it to the Crown Prince, and the Crown Prince very diplomatically reiterated Saudi Arabia's long-standing position, if I may say, that actually Saudi Arabia has no issues with normalizing ties with Israel. As you know very well, Dan, the issue with Israel is not ideological. The issue with Israel is the illegal occupation of Palestinian territory as per the United Nations. And what the Crown Prince very diplomatically said today is that we as a country have no problem joining the Abraham Accords and normalizing ties with Israel, provided we find a solution for the Palestinian and a pathway to a Palestinian state. That was clearly reiterated, but it was good for the American media and for the American audience to hear it straight from the horse's mouth, because there's a lot of misconceptions with regards to that. But the position remains firmly solid that we are waiting, and now it's up to Israel to do some sort of a compromise, agree to a Palestinian state so that the whole region can move forward.